Okay, so we're going to continue our shiurim on the subject of Techiyas Hameisim. So for this week's shir regarding Techiyas Hameisim, so there's a shaila that is discussed in Shuvas Farim, and that is Losad Lavai after Techiyas Hameisim. When there will be a father and a child that will stand up for Techiyas Hameisim, will the mitzvah of Kibbud Avayim apply? That the child, if his mechuyev, to give honor to his father, or not?
Why not? What's the svara?
Because, the svara that it should apply is because it's his father. It's his father.
That's common sense. Well, why not?
Because the father and the child are now revived in Techiyas Hameisim. It's a new guf, it's a new body, and there's no relationship between them. The guf that the father gave birth to passed away, and once the guf passes away in the kever, the guf
is that what we established last time? We decided.
The person passes away, and the guf decomposes, and then Techiyas Hameisim, the Eibishter creates a new guf. So it's like a new person. It's a new person, and therefore there's no relationship between the father and the son, the father and the child.
I'm not going to tell this speech to my wife.
You will. Let's hear the conclusion. So you.
Like a Gershon is kind
Like a Gershon is got cut the Shanayla Dami, yeah, sort of, yeah.
So Etzem Luz still has to give.
Okay, so we'll go through all the details. Etzem Luz, right? But this is the shaila that's discussed in Etzem Luz, yeah. Okay, so here's the point. There's a few tzdadim b'davar. One is, like I just said, the shaila is the guf of the person by Techiyas Hameisim. Is it a new guf and there's no kiruv whatsoever, or is it the same guf and the relationship that there is between father and son still remains? The nafkamina, by the way, is not only benigeh to kibbud avayim. There's a nafkamina benigeh to other inyanim as well. One of the things I spoke about a few weeks ago is benigeh to kayanim. A kayin by Techiyas Hameisim, there's a Ramban that speaks about this, and other Rishonim, whether a kayin will have to have Moshiach again after Techiyas Hameisim. Aaron a kayin, when he became a kayin gadol, Moshe Rabbeinu anointed him with Shemen HaMishcha. When he stands up for Techiyas Hameisim, does he have to have Moshiach a second time or not?
Well, maybe he's not even a kohen. If you're going that way, he's not even a kohen.
The Eibusha gives him back a guf of a kayin.
No, maybe not.
A guf of a kayin, but a new guf of a kayin.
If you stretch it all the way, stretch it all the way. Not even a kohen.
Okay,
not even a Levi.
You have to get married again?
That's a shaila taka that's discussed also. You have to do a chuppah and kedushin and chuppah again. Husband and wife. Another shaila that's discussed is a person that was married to two different people. To who does he go back? Does he go back to the first person, to the second person?
Okay,
so
if it's two wives, a guy can give two wives. Two wives, you can give two wives.
But two husbands, who does he go back?
Did the spouse, did they divorce, or the spouse
If they divorced, if a person divorces his wife, and then he marries someone else.
Okay, but Pashas, he wants to put a second one, or if it's first
But it's not a matter of want. In Zoyar, I think it's mashma, it says that he goes back to the first one. As I state. That's it. Yeah, goes back to the first one. Okay. Kolpanim. So there's a lot of different things that are nafkamina from this shaila. Is the guf a new guf, or is it the old guf? But then the thing is, when it comes to kibbud avayim, so you know what? So let's talk about this first when we get to this prat. Is the guf a new guf, or is the guf not a new guf? So l'chayre, this is totally in what you just brought up before, which is the etzem luz. How does Techiyas Hameisim take place? So there's the famous medrash that's brought, and it's a zoyar, and it's in many places, and Taisus brings it in Baba Kama, that Techiyas Hameisim will happen through the etzem luz. There's a bone in the body of the person that's positioned. It says in some places that it's in the top of the chut hashedra. It's in the place where the kesher shel tefillin is. And that etzem luz never decomposes. Not only that, the medrash clearly says that the etzem luz is a bone that there's nothing that can destroy it. Nothing can, if you take it and you try to crush it or you try to burn it, whatever you'll try to do with it, the etzem luz remains. It's like a sapphire stone that cannot be destroyed in any way. So this Etzem Luz is what Techiyas Hameisim is built from.
Rav Nissen Mangel says that he was witness.
To see the Etzem Luz?
After they burned all the ashes, there were little bones. They couldn't burn that.
Okay, I'm not sure what he saw, but the size of the Etzem Luz, there's various things that I saw when you get to the size of the Etzem Luz. But Pashtus, the Etzem Luz is the size of a luz, which is a shkedim, which is an almond, pretty small. And in another place I saw that the size of the Etzem Luz is the size of a sa'ira.
Which is smaller.
Right.
So it says they were always by the fire after they burned the bodies. They were like hard bones that didn't get burned.
Correct. Okay.
I didn't say size. I didn't say size.
Okay, I hear. Okay, so this is the Etzem Luz. So that's one day. Another day that the Rebbe brings in Sichos, which is from Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. So over there it says that Techiyas Hameisim takes place not from the Etzem Luz. The body completely decomposes in the kever. And the lashon that it says there in the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer is Tarvad Rekev. Not sure what the word Tarvad means, but Rekev means that it becomes completely decomposed in the kever.
Tarvad is
a certain amount of Rekev. So it becomes completely decomposed, and the Techiyas Hameisim is the Eibishter creates a naya guf. A new guf, a tzura chadasha, a new guf. So if the Techiyas Hameisim happens from the Etzem Luz, so then it's the same body. The Gemara over there gives the mashal, like a person that takes a dough, and the dough rises, and you can create bread and challah or whatever from a little bit of dough. It's the same thing also. The Eibishter takes that Etzem Luz and adds water, adds whatever ingredients he has to add. This is a Tal Techiyah actually. The Tal Techiyah and the Etzem Luz, and that Tal Techiyah, the Eibishter builds the guf again. So then it's not a new guf. It's the Zelba guf. The guf bleibt a nitzchizdige guf. But according to the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, no, it's a new guf that the Eibishter creates. So, I mean, the emes is the shitte that the Techiyas Hameisim is from the Etzem Luz, is the ongenomene deya. That's the accepted opinion. The Rebbe brings in the Yud Shvatzich and Chelik Vav, very geschmack sicher. The Rebbe there, Barichas, explains that in Chassidus it says that the main avodah of a person is in the guf. What's the whole point of the avodah that a person does dafka in the guf? The whole guf is a temporary thing. It comes and it goes. Ofaratav alofa toshuv. So what's the whole point of avodah in the guf? So the Rebbe says, Neis nishtamis. The guf is kayam nitzchi la'olam because the Eibishter was beicher in the neshama in the guf of a yid. That is not in the neshama. The Eibishter was beicher in the guf of a yid, and the guf remains forever. Adarabah, the fact that the guf temporarily decomposes, that's a temporary status. But the guf itself, be'emes, is a nitzchizige thing, and therefore taka the Techiyah happens from the Etzem Luz. That's what the Rebbe teaches in the Sicha. It's okay, you want to? Yeah. You want? You hear or not? So if that's the pshat, so then the guf is not, the guf is nish kenai metzias. The guf is the Techiyas Hameisim happens from the Etzem Luz. Okay, that's one shayla. The Rebbe,
this sounds all the issues. This sounds all the issues.
Was meant all issues?
All the shaylas that we just said.
Yes, if it comes from the Etzem Luz, so then it's not an umetzias. Right, correct. There's another very interesting shayla. The Gemara says in the Rebbe brings in Chelik Yud Ches. The Gemara in Nida talks about the shayla of what happens to people that are going to stand up for Techiyas Hameisim. Are they Tmei Meis? Are they Tomei Meis? How are they Tomei Meis? From themselves. Because they're Tomei because they touched their own body. Their own body was dead. And then the Eibishter builds it to become a living body. That living body, so to speak, touched the dead body. So they should be mechuyev in the Hazav, a Paraduma, Shlishi, and Shvi to be metayar themselves from touching their own body.
Okay, that bone, 1 second.
Huh?
That bone, the Etzem Luz is not a shir. Yes or not?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the shir.
The creation of a new body is clarifying. It's gongish.
I hear.
Unless you're going to say that every second.
They passed away recently.
Okay, I hear you. So the Rebbe in that Sicha in Chelik Yud Ches says that it's totally also in this. If the Techiyas Hameisim happens from the Etzem Luz, there's a svara to say that they will need They are Tomei Meis. All the people that get up with Techiyas Hameisim are Tomei Meis. If the Techiyas Hameisim happens from Rekev, so then it's a new guf. It's a creation of a new guf. It never touched that part of the etzem law is a part of the body which was dead. There's no nigia in any Tomei Meis. Another, huh? The Rekev of the is also Tomei.
I think the
But it's
shear-
because it's a Tzura Chadasha. But when you get to this new guf, it's still a Tzura Chadasha.
The shear is Talmud Regev, I believe.
That's the shear.
Yeah,
So
I
the
think
laws,
yeah.
so the laws is more than that.
It's less of a problem. The luz doesn't have a shear. It's a very small.
Once it's tummy.
Wow.
Building it's still tummy.
Okay, another interesting thing that I saw that's connected to this is the Shaila B'negei to what will be the condition of the body of the person when he gets up with Techiyas Hameisim. Will the person get up by Techiyas Hameisim with all of the mumin that he had when he passed away? Whatever condition he had when he passed away, that's what he gets up with. Then, later, the Eibusher will heal him. But l'chatchila he gets up if he was, whatever condition he passed away. Huh? The Eibusher will refurbish him after some.
I have a raya from our.
Or there's another shitta that when a person gets up by Techiyas Hameisim, l'chatchila will get up healthy and strong and fresh. Not that the Eibusher will fix the moment afterwards.
I have a raya from Dallas. The Rebbe told the doctor that his job is going to be to
Preventive?
to tell people that they are gesund.
Okay.
Moshiach is going to come, so obviously they're going to come with this, and the doctor is going to make him gesund.
Okay.
I don't know what I mean.
Was meant that he has to tell people as they're gesund.
People
saw
are gonna
the-
come
I don't want to be mafsik the shit too long, but you saw the video last Motzei Shabbos that the Nassim Gerari says that he had an issue with his heart and that he went to the Rebbe in Yechidus and the Rebbe told him, go to a doctor that's going to calm you and tell you that you have no problem. Go, and then he went to a doctor that told him that he did have a problem. So against a doctor that says you have no problem. So go back to another doctor. In other words, the job of a doctor is going to be even lost lavoi, when a person is going to be totally healthy, so can sich dachten that you don't feel good, you have to go to the doctor to reassure you that it's beseder.
Like Dr. Erickson, he knew exactly when they used to come to him, he knew exactly what to
Du bist
say.
beseder. Like he gave you some drops and du bist beseder.
So you're saying that you don't know the condition will not be known. A totally new person, or is it going to be?
So in the Sikh in Chelik Yud Ches actually, the Rebbe says that when the Gemara asks this Shaila, if Techiyas Hameisim, if the people are going to be Tomei Meis, you know what the Gemara answers to that question? The Gemara says, L'kishayichyu nechkam lahem. When Techiyas Hameisim will happen, we will be wise and we will know. So the Rebbe teaches what's the pshat, because once Techiyas Hameisim will happen, we'll be able to determine this Shaila whether Techiyas Hameisim will be a new guf or the old guf. If we'll see that it's the person getting up with the mumin and later it'll be healed, we'll know that it's the old
What
guf.
is that? What's a
The blemishes, whatever issue, whatever health issue the person passed away with. If he passed away 90 years old and he was an old frail person, he's going to wake up that way. He's going to be revived in Techiyas Hameisim that way. Later, the Eibush will refurbish his guf.
Certified refurbished.
What age are they going to come back?
Huh?
What age are they going to come back?
It's also l'chayda totally in the same Indian. No?
Masha, I don't know. Somewhere to go down is the prime age.
I saw a P'sanat Tshuva Sefer, he says a Shaila, that what happens if you have a person that he gave birth to a child when he was young, he was 18 years old, he was 20 years old, he gave birth to a child and he passed away in Nebuch right afterwards, and then his child lived to be 90 years old. It's coming again Techiyas Hameisim, so it's coming out Altachkir, 90 years old, and his father is going to be this young 18-year-old. So on one hand, the father is mechuyev to give kavod. The son is mechuyev to give kavod to the father, kibud avein. But on the other hand, the father is going to have to be mechabed his son because mipnei seva tokum. That is a younger manchik in the sein Sohn. Sein Sohn is a 90 years old. As was. What? That the son was a rebbe and then Yaakov and Yosef or other cases, yeah. Yeah, or you later it's achmeistes from different people that didn't want to go to their son. The Alter Rebbe, I think. It wasn't a story. The Alter Rebbe's father didn't want to come to the Alter Rebbe because the shaila of who has to give cover to who? I don't remember.
That he came to visit somebody that Baal Shem Tov gave a bracha for Richus Yomim, and he and his son was frail Shebefred, and he was a younger mamish, a younger man, because that was the bracha.
He started to blame him why he don't respect him. He said it because his father, he moved his tapushki. He did that.
Yeah. Okay, that's all one shaila.
The Rambam also writes the same thing. We only going to know like what's the I don't remember the lashon.
That's been again to Bias Eliyahu. Yeah. Okay, so now this is a shaila that's the Techiyas Hameisim, if the guf is a new guf, or if it's not a new guf, and like I said, one of the nafkamin is benegay to kibbud of ha'aim. But here, benegay to kibbud of ha'aim, it's different. By kibbud of ha'aim, there's a svara to say that even if it is a new guf, there will still be the mitzvah of kibbud of ha'aim. Even if there will be no kurva, there's no relationship mitzad the guf, but still there will be a mitzvah of kibbud of ha'aim. Kibbud of ha'aim is in this week's parsha. Correct or incorrect?
Yes.
Parshas Yisrei, and Aseres Adibris. Aseres Adibris said Kabbat Savicha V'Simecha. So, one of the things that it says about Kabbat Savicha V'Simecha, that Aseres Adibris is divided into two categories. There's the 5 on the right side, which are Benot Lamokim, which includes Kibbud of Ha'aim, right? And then there's the 5 on the left, that's Leisignov, Leisinov, Leisirtzach, Leisana, which is Benot Lachaveiroi. V'Rekter, the Shaila, what's Kibbud of Ha'aim doing on the right side together with all the mitzvahs benadam la'makim? L'chayr, it's a mitzvah benadam la'chaveirei. That a person has to honor his parents. It's a mitzvah between you and your fellow man or woman.
Because they couldn't fit it there.
Huh?
Because that's the way it was.
So the Rebbe brings in the Sicha in Chelik Lamed Vav. In Chelik Lamed Vav in Parshas Yisrei, this week's Parsha, the Rebbe is masber that when it comes to the mitzvah of Kibbud of Ha'aim, there's 2 reasons for the mitzvah of Kibbud of Ha'aim. There's the mitzvah of Kibbud of Ha'aim al pi seichel, which is the fact that Rebbe brings there the chinuch. The chinuch says that a father raised a child and he gave him to eat, he gave him to drink, he provided everything he needs from a young age, he took care of him, he let him chulu. So therefore, it's a koras hatev to pay the respect and the honor for what the father and mother did for you. That's the simple pshat of Kibbud of Ha'aim. But then the Rebbe brings the Ramban. The Ramban in Parshas Yisrei says that the mitzvah of Kibbud of Ha'aim is that when you mechabed your parents, you have to be mechabed them because it's kovet hakel. You're being mechabed the Eibishter by being mechabed your parents. Why? So the Ramban says because the parents are mishtatev b'yitzirasai of the neshama. When a person gets created, so there's the Av Aim, and then there's the Eibishter that gives the Neshama, and the Av and the Aim are mamshich the Neshama into the world. That's the reason why you have to be Mechabed the parents. And the Rebbe there is masber that it's Bechlal, the whole Koyach HaIlada, to give birth, and it's just to continue one generation to the next, is a Koyach of Ein Sof. The whole musig that it goes from one generation to the next it comes from the Koyach Ein Sof. So the fact that the parents are mamshech koyach ein sof in the world, that's the sibba why you have to give them the kovid, the kibbud of ha'aim. Kumtais, that kibbud of ha'aim is not a mitzvah that's connected just to the guf. Mitzad, the union of kibbud of ha'aim that's connected to the guf. That's the hakoras hatev, that this person, with the koyches of the guf that he has, this father, with the koyches of the guf that he had, worked hard on my behalf to provide for me all my needs from my guf, so I should pay respect to him. So mitzad the kibbud of ha'aim from the guf, yeah, so that's a mitzvah that only applies if taka there is a connection between one guf and the other. Then you could start clearing b'negei to lost lavi. Is it a new guf? Is it not a new guf? But the mitzvah of kibbud avim is deeper than that. The mitzvah of kibbud avim is mitzvah the neshama. Or memela, the neshama of the father and the child is always connected. That's something that doesn't go away. That connection of the so there's 2 things. Number 1, the emes is that the 2 days that there is b'negei to kibbud avim, whether there's the etzem laws or not, the minemet on that there is an etzem laws, as is ungenommen, according to the Zoyar and according to the Medrash and the Taisvis, that there is an etzem laws, and therefore even mitzad the guf, it's going to be the same guf. But even if we didn't accept that opinion, mitzad the neshama, for sure there's an union of kibbud avim, because and the Rebbe actually says in the Sicha, very Yishmak Avart, that there's a difference between the kibbud avim that there is by Yidden and lahavlu by Goyim. There is an union of kibbud avim even by Goyim. And could be it's included, or it's a chelik of the Shavim Mitzvah Bnei Noach. There's a musig of kibbud avim lahavdil by goyim also, but the kibbud avim by goyim is only mitzad the inyan that there's a kibbud avim mitzad the guf of the father, the guf of the child. By Yidden, it's a different. The kibbud of aim of a Yid is a different kibbud of aim of a goy. The kibbud of aim of a Yid is the kibbud of aim for the neshama, the connection that there is between the neshama and the father, and the neshama and the child, and that's something which is nitzchizik and never gets affected, never changes. Yes. So the Rebbe there is masbid that by a goy it's not the same inyan, and the only reason why there is the koyach ha'ilada by a goy. So there should be bechira chavshis, but the inyan of bechira and the inyan of koyach ein sof is nishdoa ba'agay. It's a davanai. You can look in the sikha. The Rebbe's masbid. It's a davanai of chelik lamed vav. Chelik lamed vav parshas Yisrei.
What's the question in the neshama? It says in Tanya there could be a tzaddik, and the neshama when tzaddik comes from kid to Amar. It's mashma nishdoa b'chal kish.
But the kasha of the neshama that the father was mamshech this koyach ein sof. He created it. He was mamshech. He created it. No, not only the guf.
He created what?
He was mamshech the neshama. The father is mamshech the neshama.
A kid. Amar could be mamshech from a great tzaddik, mashma from Tanya for a kid.
There is a thing around Moshiach and different fashions of different levels.
There's the levushim of the father, but that's a different thing. But even not only the levushim that the Alter talks about in the end of Perik Beis, the levushim that the parents are mamshech. There's Kabila Mal Yusa also. Kabila Griyusa, Kabila Mal Yusa. But Kabila Mal Yusa also. It could be both, Mal Yusa and Griyusa. There's a kasha between the father and the child mitzad the neshama that the father is mamshech this neshama. One more point on this inyan, that the kibbud of aim mitzad the neshama. So there's the din in Shulchan Aruch that it says that the kibbud of aim is not only when the father and mother are alive. Mechabde b'chayev, mechabde b'moisai. So you see that the kibbud of aim is not only mitzad the guf. If it's mitzad the guf, so then l'chayre there's no kasher anymore between the guf. The guf is you're not, what are you being mechabed? You can't be mechabed. Being mechabed the guf means chalagev to drinking. I give you to drink. I honor you physically in your presence or something. But mechabdai achar moisai has to be l'chayra inyan of kibbud of aim that's mitzad the neshama. Only l'chayra. But here's an interesting thing. Yeah, but the father's guf is not alive though. The what?
If you curse your father lachar mitzvah.
No, you chayiv. There's a special pasuk that you chayiv. Chayiv. Yeah. So the interesting thing though is that this din that mechabde b'chayiv and mechabde b'moisai, there's a machlokes hapaiskim if that's a chiyuv d'oraisa or not. There are those that say that the chiyuv of mechabde b'moisai is only a chiyuv mid'rabbanan. Minat Torah there's no kibbud avei machar misa. The whole din of mechabde b'moisai is mid'rabbanan. But Roiv Paiskim hold that Mechayev de B'moisei is a mitzvah of kibbud avei mid'oraisa. You are mechayev mid'oraisa. But I mean, obviously, achar moisei, the inyanim of kavod that are shaykh to the guf don't exist anymore. But the inyanim of kavod that are shaykh to the neshama, the father's name, the father's honor, v'chulu v'chulu, those things are shaykh even after he passes away, and even mid'oraisa according to some opinions. Okay, so over here you see this inyan that there's inyan of kibbud avei mitzad the neshama. That's it.